Welcome to GESARA for Dummies. It is the 16th of April 2025. Let's look at today's news from Professor William Liebenberg, prepared by Martin Stein. Please like, share and subscribe. Join our Telegram group in the comments below. Thank you. Let's go. The GESARA law. The cabal structures are under fire: banks, SWIFT, World Health Organization, WTO, and now State Departments, the UN and NATO. Trump has been asked to stop American funding for the UN and NATO, the Associated Press reports, citing sources. There are plans to completely stop funding the UN, a key logistical partner in many humanitarian initiatives around the world, and other major non-governmental organizations, including NATO, the publication writes. Elsewhere in the article it states that it is only cutting funding for NATO headquarters. The White House Office of Management and Budget also proposed cutting the State Department's budget by nearly half, closing a number of foreign diplomatic missions, significantly cutting the number of diplomatic personnel, and ending funding for almost all international organizations. Here is the logic. Black Americans born in the US or Americans? Japanese born in the US or Americans? Racist blacks in South Africa claim whites born in South Africa are not Africans. But the world reasons differently. Afrikaners are African, says Zimbabwe's Zanu-PF. In a statement that has stirred regional controversy in South Africa and signaled a notable shift in political tone. Zimbabwe's ruling party Zanu-PF has declared that Afrikaners are African, adding that they have a responsibility to invest in and bring capital to the continent. The remarks, made during a meeting at State House attended by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, party spokesman Christopher Mutsvangwa, and a delegation of Afrikaner businesspeople from South Africa, come amid the Zimbabwean government's efforts to compensate white farmers whose land was seized during the country's controversial land reform program in the early 2000s. A surprising turn in rhetoric. Zimbabwe has begun disbursing an initial compensation amount of $3 million ($58 million) to some of the dispossessed white farmers, part of a broader plan to rebuild investor confidence and re-engage with both domestic and international stakeholders. Describing Afrikaners as part of the fabric of the African continent who should play a constructive economic role. They are African. They live here. They built their lives and businesses here, and they must be part of Africa's future, said Mutsvangwa. Afrikaners, like all Africans, have a duty to reinvest in the continent and contribute to its growth. Mnangagwa's economic diplomacy. President Mnangagwa, flanked by senior government officials and the visiting delegation, reiterated Zimbabwe's commitment to reconciliation and economic revitalization through inclusive policies. We are now focusing on rebuilding, Mnangagwa said. That requires acknowledging past challenges while working together to forge a united future. Capital knows no race, and we are calling on all who identify with this continent to invest in it. Afrikaner delegation welcomes outreach. The South African Afrikaner delegation, led by business leaders from sectors such as agriculture and energy, welcomed the engagement, calling it a new chapter in regional cooperation. One of the delegates said, "We appreciate the gesture and the recognition. We believe Africa's future is collaborative, and we are ready to invest where there is goodwill and policy clarity." It was a pragmatic shift in policy direction. Political analyst Alex Rungunda said, "It's a significant rhetorical departure for Zanu-PF. which has traditionally adopted a confrontational stance on land and race. But it may also be a sign of desperation. The government urgently needs capital and goodwill. Meanwhile, some war veterans and radical land reform backers have expressed concern over what they perceive as a softening stance on historical injustices. The government has so far insisted that the land reform program remains irreversible, but that compensation is necessary for stability and international credibility. A new economic frontier? As Zimbabwe charts a new economic course, the inclusion of Afrikaner capital and reconciliation with former white farmers could reshape the post-land reform landscape. Whether this signals a lasting policy shift or a temporary political maneuver remains to be seen. For now, Zanu-PF's message is clear. Afrikaners are African, and Africa's future, they argue, must be built by all its people. Flip-flop in desperation for white skills, or sincere truth, payment systems. So here is the big question. When will the new gold-backed system go live? Here's the answer. First the rails, then the gold. You don't and simply can't back currency with real assets until the system can handle it. Right now, they're not flipping the switch. The person telling you it can happen now by just flipping the switch is lying. They're laying the crucial infrastructure, meaning the rails such as 1. ISO 20022. Messaging, global language of finance. 2. Digital settlement rails, RippleNet, XDC, Quant. 3. Tokenization of gold, energy, real estate. 4. Real-time, traceable transactions on blockchain into banks and systems. 5. Cryptocurrency-approved regulations that allow gold-backed stablecoins to move digital gold certificates. Completion date July 22. These are the pipes, the conduits, that enable the gold back to flow through. You cannot water the garden if you do not have a hose pipe. It is logical. Once the rails are installed, tested and synced, then comes the reset. It is logical. Only when the system can 1. Audit in real time. 2. Prevent fraud and money laundering. 3. Track, trace and monitor every transaction. 4. Settle instantly across borders. 5. Bring the elders off ledger donated gold onto the ledger and issue digital gold certificates, and they can then move via an alternative bridge system bypassing the cabal's SWIFT such as Ripple or BRICS. Then only can the switch be flipped for the GCR. If any one of these rails is missing, then the switch cannot be flipped. Only when all the rails are in place can they attach real value to them. In the meantime, fiat and cryptocurrencies remain in the cabal's systems and, therefore they, with 100% certainty, manipulate the fiat and crypto's values. They, the Q, military intelligence, are not going to announce it guys next week. Thursday is the global currency reset. It is totally ludicrous to accept any gurus ridiculous dates. You'll just wake up one day, it's live. Gold won't be on a truck. It will be tokenized, tracked, moving at light speed via digital gold certificates through the new blockchain bridge system. And the old fiat world, it'll collapse under its own weight, exactly as planned. Tip: build now. Stack smart. Because by the time the gold is attached, the doors will already be closed. Common. Why do you think the following 3 things are happening presently globally? 1. Gold is our Ving. 2. Basel III and IV are being implemented. 3. The Bretton Woods III agreement is restored. Now take note. Global businesses need fast, low-cost ways to move money. RLUSD is now integrated into Ripple payments, enabling real-time cross-border payments backed by institutional-grade compliance, transparency, and trust. The new standard is here. This is a major unlock. Ripple integrating RLUSD into their payment stack signals the next phase of capital movement. Regulated, real-time, and built for institutions. We're finally seeing stablecoin rails that meet compliance standards without sacrificing speed or scale. The next announcement will be RLUSD, which is a gold-backed stablecoin. Watch the news. Currency wars. The global economy is indeed showing signs of transitioning toward a digital asset-based trading system. Though it's not a complete shift yet, more of an evolution happening alongside traditional financial systems. As of April 1, 2025, institutional adoption of digital assets, like cryptocurrencies, tokenized securities, and blockchain-based platforms is accelerating. For instance, major financial players such as BlackRock and Fidelity have been integrating digital assets into their offerings. BlackRock's tokenized BUIDL fund alone saw an $800 million influx in just 2 weeks in early 2025, signaling serious institutional interest. Total tokenized real-world assets have surpassed $10 billion, reflecting a shift from theoretical concepts to practical use. On the regulatory front, the US has taken steps with an executive order in January 2025 to promote digital asset innovation, while the EU's Markets in Crypto Assets (MiCA) framework is starting to provide clarity for member states. Countries like Singapore and Switzerland are also advancing their own digital asset regulations, fostering environments where digital trading can thrive. Meanwhile, the crypto market itself is maturing. Traders at hedge funds and asset managers are diversifying beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum into altcoins, DeFi tokens, and tokenized traditional assets, with trading volumes growing steadily. It's not a full replacement of the old system yet. The World Economic Forum and firms like JP Morgan highlight how blockchain and distributed ledger technology (DLT) are streamlining post-trade processes and enabling faster settlement, like T1 in the US. But these innovations are often building on, rather than dismantling, existing infrastructure. The transition is real. Digital assets are gaining traction. Projected market volume is expected to hit $46 billion globally by the end of 2025, per Statista. Yet, they coexist with fiat currencies and conventional trading systems. Challenges like 1. Regulatory uncertainty, 2. Scalability, and 3. Public adoption remains a hurdle. So, yes, the economy is transitioning, but it's more of a slow integration than a sudden overhaul. Here are the takeaways. The gold-backed bonds will pay out in digital gold certificates, but then they must be converted via a system such as the upcoming Ripple XRP system or the coming BRICS system to get your payout into your fiat bank account. Both these upcoming bridge systems are alternatives to the cabal's SWIFT system. Both these new digital systems will operate for months, 2 years in parallel with the old traditional systems till all humans are eventually into blockchain and crypto, and these new digital systems can only start to take off in the banks after July 22, when the regulations are approved. We are living in a period where we are transitioning from the old to the new. Russian ruble rules 2025, up 38% against the USD, topping all other currencies. The ruble has even outshined gold, traditionally seen as a safe haven asset during turbulent times. Their central bank is not controlled by the Rothschilds. One morning soon when you woke up, the GCR happened. That sums up your Wednesday news. See you tomorrow.